Let's talk God. Kind of a touchy subject. This is something I've been wrestling with so much recently. Not religion, not church, or the church culture, or the church Instagram, but God. Because what I found recently is that I do believe in God. I've always believed in God. But recently I feel God. I really do believe Jesus is real. The part that I question is everything around it. And I don't hear enough people say this out loud. So I wonder if I'm the only one. It kind of freaks me out. Right? The faith versus certainty aspect. Like, I didn't grow up rejecting faith. I actually grew up in faith. I grew up wanting it all to make more sense, going to Sunday school and wanting to be like everybody else. And somewhere along the way, I was told that faith meant certainty and that doubt meant some kind of weakness and a rebellion. But that never truly sat right with me, because if God is real, if he's infinite, and if he's intelligent and intentional, like he's supposed to be, and I believe he is, why would he be threatened by the idea of curiosity? It never really sat right with me that you weren't allowed to do that. And the reality is, here's where I struggle: is it really possible that the one thing that humans wrote perfectly, without no distortion, no agenda, was the Bible? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it isn't divine. I'm saying that humans were involved, and humans are flawed. I genuinely believe this. If you lived by the Bible, you'd probably live a disciplined, peaceful, and very grounded life. Like, I can see the wisdom in it. Like, when I read it, there's something to that. But here's the tension for me. I don't know. I believe the majority of the Bible. I would say 95% of it. Right? I would say 95% of what the Bible teaches aligns with everything I've ever morally felt deep down: respect, honesty, self-control, loyalty, humility, sacrifice. Like, that stuff, it all feels right. So I feel crazy for even doubting the other 5%. And that 5% creates a lot of internal conflict in myself, right? I don't know if it's about the intimacy or what, but I think about this one idea of, like, is it really that terrible if I have sex with somebody I love more than myself? Somebody that I feel bonded to, and even though we're not married yet, and we're seeing if they're capable of committing long term to me, and it's not time for marriage yet, why is it so terrible to sleep with them? Because I know the difference. I can feel the difference. There's a massive difference between sleeping with a girl I met at a bar about 2 hours ago and being with the woman who makes my shoulders drop after a long day at work, right? When I come home to work and I see that person that's just there, that you love. Like, one, you leave and you feel empty. One is grounding, it's safe, and it feels human. So why do those experiences get lumped into the same category? Why does nuance seem to disappear so easily? I think about this when it comes to, like, the sin, joy, the human experience aspect that we aren't supposed to be doing. Like, the same thing as drinking, right? I've had some of the best memories of my life laughing with the boys, drinking, bonding, and being young. Those moments didn't feel dark. They didn't feel destructive. I didn't feel like a terrible person. They felt alive. Yet I'm told that a life of that is a life of sin. So I'm left asking, is joy sinful, or is excess the problem? Because those feel very different to me, because I could see where a world of being an alcoholic and a world of poisoning your body is sinful. So it's hard to not trust God, because I trust God, but I don't trust humans. But that's part of the messes with me. How am I supposed to fully trust the Bible when the humans attached have done horrific things? How do I trust that the same King James, the man whose name is on the most official translation of the Bible we so read today, who burnt witches and believed he ruled because he was divine, and persecuted people because they didn't align with his religion? Like, I'm not saying God did that stuff. I'm saying humans did. And that's exactly goes to my point in my struggles. And this is where my struggles live. I do think the Bible's a great thing, but how am I supposed to be certain it's not manipulated in any kind of way? And let me be clear, I'm not doubting God when I say that. I know God. I feel God. I see God in my life all around, especially recently. I believe Jesus Christ is real. I believe in God because of the world, but I believe in my faith that pulls me to Jesus Christ. What I struggle with is putting absolute faith in a human interpretation. No different than I struggle to listen to the advice a pastor gives me. I don't know who he is. Here's another honest question I don't feel like I hear enough people ask is, why does faith sometimes feel like a cope for laziness? Why do I feel like people say, trust God and everything will be okay, as a substitute for action? It's just like a fear mechanism, because here's my lived experience. Mental peace comes from faith, but physical peace comes from action, from discipline, or doing the hard thing, from showing up. That's all action. And when I do the action, when I work, I train, I move responsibly, I take responsibility for my own actions, I feel closer to God, not further. The peace of not knowing is where my faith comes from. When you get broken up with it, you don't know what life's going to look like for the next few months, and you pray. That's faith in my eyes. But I feel this fire in me, this intuition that God doesn't want me to play small. That He'd rather I take 100 risks and succeed at 8 of them than take 8 safe bets and succeed at 7. That growth requires an exposure, a failure, and a curiosity, and sometimes doubt and sin, or whatever that may be, because doubt means that connection is real. It means that I'm not borrowing my belief, that I'm building it. And I don't know why, but that doesn't feel wrong. And am I the only one that feels that way, or is that normal? And the part of me that is so uncomfortable, sometimes a pastor will sit right in front of me telling me exactly how I should live, marry, how I should think. And I don't even know the guy, yet I do know the moral compass that God gave me. So I feel it when something's wrong. I feel it when something's right. And am I really supposed to doubt that because some guidance from a man I don't know told me so? It means I struggle with outsourcing my conscience. And is that faith? And maybe faith is more of a discipline than I'm trying to make it seem. But it also doesn't help when I see people who scream that Jesus the loudest lie to me, manipulate, perform. The pastor who cheats on his wife, sleeps with children, spends all the money on cars. Right? My problem isn't with God, it's with humans. And maybe that's my issue, is I'm not learning to have blind faith. But why do I have faith in a God but almost none in the sense of people? And I think about prayer and the peace and the truth, because here's the part I can't deny. When I pray, my anxiety quiets. When I'm still, I feel the peace. When I reflect, I feel guided. And there is something to this it's undeniable, something genuinely real, something deeper than some doctrine, right? Why I do believe in God, because I do feel it. So this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm humble. I want to know more. I want a deeper faith, not blind faith, real faith. Faith that survives questions, faith that coexists with action, faith that doesn't require me to shut my brain off. And I genuinely want to ask, am I the only one who struggles with this? Have you ever felt God but questioned the structure around Him? If you've wrestled with this, if you've doubted, if you've grown, if you learned to reconcile, I want to hear from it. I want to hear from you. What am I missing? Because if God is real, I don't believe He's offended by these honest questions. I don't believe me saying this is mocking Him. I think He's waiting. I think He's waiting for them. He's waiting for more soldiers and more to call out and ask for Him, whatever that may be. So if you've been there and you know the answers to these, please help me out. But if you also feel this way, you're not the only one.